Right now, get up to a $15 gift card after rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome to another episode of Transfer Tuesday here on the Season of Self-Love, and I'm your host, Nyomi Banks. And today we are diving deep into healing through the power of music. As part of our February series of Cultivating Self-Compassion, we're going to explore two songs that have personally guided me through my darkest moments. That's Whitney Houston, I Didn't Know My Own Strength, and Yolanda Adams, I'm Gonna Be Ready. These songs aren't just music. They're medicine for the soul. I mean, they've been there when family judgment felt too heavy and when society criticism seems too loud. But when our inner critic threatened to drown out our inner ally. Well, today we're going to break down these powerful anthems and find the healing wisdom within their words. You know, yesterday on Mindset Monday, Dr. Will and I, we talked about the battle between our inner critic and our inner ally. But today we are taking that conversation further. We're using these songs as tools to strengthen our relationship with ourselves and to cultivate the deep self-compassion we all need, especially in times like this. But before we dive into this, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnaomi.com and tell them Naomi. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. You know, on Transfer Tuesday, we're doing something special this month where we're taking songs that has, touched and helped transform my life. And we're breaking these songs down. And today we're using the songs, Whitney Houston, I Didn't Know My Own Strength, and Yolanda Adams, I'm Gonna Be Ready. But before we dive in, let's take a moment just to ground ourselves and to open our hearts to receive this healing. So if you are driving, I want you to keep your eyes on the road. But if you are somewhere safe that you can close your eyes and begin our meditation, all right? All right, so I want you to find a comfortable position in a nice sacred space. Again, close your eyes. Now I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. And I want you to release slowly through your mouth. I want you to feel your body settling into this moment. Now I want you to place one hand on your heart. I want you to feel its steady rhythm. Now I want you to place your other hand on your stomach. And I want you to feel the rise and the fall of your breath. Now I want you to imagine a golden light beginning at the crown of your head. And with each breath, this light flows down through your body, washing away any judgment, whether from others or yourself. Now as you breathe, I want you to repeat silently, I am worthy of love. I am worthy of respect. And I carry the strength from my ancestors. Now feel the presence of those who've walked this path before you. Your grandmothers, your grandfathers, all of those who held space for you in your light. Now I want you to bring your mind to someone who has criticized or judged you. See their words dissolving in that golden light, unable to dim your shine. I want you to take one final deep breath in. And as you release it, I want you to know that you are divinely protected. You are divinely guided. And you are divinely strong. And when you are ready, please open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people. Again, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, this is something we do every day, Monday through Friday, just to help to center ourselves before we get into the topic at hand. So today, my beautiful people, we're doing something different. You know, God has been showing me that these Tuesday sessions are meant for a very special purpose and breaking down songs that can help heal us, especially in these challenging times. And as yesterday morning, I had experienced at my altar that I needed to share with you. On that morning, I had experienced that while doing my morning check-in and prayers, I found myself going through my emails, something that I rarely do before my sacred time. So it was like, shame on me. But over the past few weeks, I have been I've been receiving these messages, whether through email and through DMs. And today, one of them triggered something in me that I truly thought that I had healed from. You know, we talk a lot about our healing process and that we think we are healed from a circumstance, a situation, but then there is something that would trigger you for whatever reason. Well, on this particular morning, it did. And I think that one letter was just probably like a, what they say, the that broke the camel back. That was that broke it. You know, a lot of times we tend to want to be strong and, you know, and get through everything. Oh, we got this. And, you know, we put it back in our little closet in the back of our mind. And that's what I have been doing, just moving forward. Okay, I hear that. I see that. It's not going to affect. I know who I am, you know, and keep going with it. But as I was sitting at my altar, and I remember saying my morning prayer and then going into meditation, and I remember the song started playing. And the song that started playing, so let me say this, let me go back a little bit. So I'm going to explain this trigger to you. As these emails and these letters and these DMs been coming to me, it's like the more and more that I continue to be vocal about my self-love, be vocal about being a transformational life coach, you know, truly being and sitting in my truth, I believe that I am triggering a lot of people. And as I am triggering a lot of people, they come back and they tend to want to remind me of who I am or who they think I am. All right. And so in this trigger moment, and I want to explain this too, that morning I chose to honor that trigger, if that makes sense. So as I said before, you tend to want to be so strong. Okay, I could do that. I know who I am. And you kind of push it, like I said, back into your little mental closet and not honor those feelings. But on this very morning, I honored that feeling. What does that honoring look like? That honoring looks, stay in it. Feel that hurt. Feel that pain. Feel all those emotions that happen, because at the end of the day, I'm still human. But also, I have the tools to help me get past and get through. I'm going to take that past back, get through that moment. But not only that, but I had help that morning. And I didn't even think that I was going to get any help that come through there. I just had my, again, like I was doing the week before. Actually, this all happened in the same weekend. That's the funny thing. This all happened in the same weekend, like, back to back. And I was on the same vibe playlist. And this song came up, Whitney Houston, I Didn't Know My Own Strength. But let me share this with you all. That song is not even on that playlist. This Whitney Houston song, I Don't Know My Own Strength, is not even on that playlist. So when I was sitting there in that moment, in tears in my eyes, I'm honoring it, this song came on. And I just started crying even more. And when I was crying, I just said, thank you, Grandma. Because that was the sense of my grandmama coming to me. That's what that moment was. So I want to take you back to a moment in my life when I first discovered this song by Whitney Houston, I Didn't Know My Own Strength. It was during a time with my family that we was preparing for my grandmother's 70th birthday celebration. Traditionally, I was the one who organized the grandchildren's performances. But this time it was something different. I was living in LA at this time. I was full blown in my adult career, living my life, but would go back home and do family things with family. But there was a particular family member that told me that I couldn't perform on this amazing celebratory for my grandmother because the church people will be there, and that they knew what I did for a living, being in the adult industry. So they didn't think that it was a good idea that me being the oldest grandchild and me being there representing our family in that way. So I'm going to tell you the judgment, the rejection from my family, that hit me. It hit me. That hit me. So, and I believe this is Whitney Houston, just as a new album. I believe she was just getting clean and everything. So I remember playing the song and I heard the words, I lost touch with my soul. I had nowhere to turn to. I had nowhere to go. And I remember hearing those words. I remember sitting on my bed when I was in California. And I remember just getting off the phone with one of my aunties. And I was explaining to her what was just told to me. And she was like, no, you can do what you want. That's your grandmother. It'll be all right. Just, show up and not, no lie. I felt defeated in that moment until this song came on. And when I heard those words, lost touch of my soul, I had nowhere to turn to. I had nowhere to go. I was like, no, these are the very words that my grandmother would speak to me. Me and my grandmother had it was a very special relationship. Yes, I was the first grandchild, but when I chose to move to California, I spoke to my grandmother at least 2 or 3 times a day. At least 2 or 3 times a day, every day. And I knew what our relationship was special. Not that it was more special than anyone, but I had my special relationship with my grandma. And I knew that she would be hurt if she did not see me performing for her. Because I've always did it. I've always that was my thing, getting the kids together, getting a family together to do these performances, whether we're dancing, whether they're singing, that was it. That was me doing that. And that I was not going to be a part of that. Not only did I think that it was a disservice to my grandmother, but I thought it also was a disservice to us and our family as a whole, with that. And so when I heard that song, something I knew that I had to perform it for my grandmother. Because everything that Whitney was singing about, losing touch with your soul, finding your way back, discovering your own strength, that was the very essence of what my grandmother had taught me and everybody else. And I think I share with you all that both of my grandmothers, my father's mother and my mother's mother, that both of them had homes, what I call the revolving door, that they were always there to help strangers, anyone, loved ones, family, friends. And their door was always open for them. And they were always there as very graceful. I had 2 very amazing, graceful, beautiful grandmothers. And so I knew, my grandmother didn't know nothing about that. So I knew that I had to do that. And I did perform it. I did a beautiful spiritual dance to that song. And my grandmother loved it. She was in tears. Her and her sisters were all 4 of them sitting up there. And they were in tears of joy. And I remember she grabbed my hand and she said, thank you. She said, because I heard yesterday that somebody said that you wasn't going to perform, that they wasn't letting you perform. She said, that's what I heard yesterday. She said, and then I looked up and there you were. And she said, I just had a big smile on my face. And I said, that's my girl. Because she understood exactly what I was saying through that song. A lot of people don't know the conversations that my grandmother and myself had. So even when my family members thought that telling my grandmother that I was in the adult industry, that I don't know what their intentions was. I don't know if their intentions was to have my grandmother disown me or what. I do not know. And I'm very cool with my family members now. I love them to death. But I don't know. And I don't even think they knew what their intentions was when that happened. But it didn't. Because I remember having a conversation with my grandmother even way before then. And they didn't know it. They didn't know about my conversations with my grandmother about me posing nude. She saw my nude pictures. She saw me. She actually recorded my interview on Howard Stern. So my grandmother knew exactly what was going on with me. But that was a story, that was a conversation that her and I had for no one else to know. For no one else to know. That was her and I conversation. And so when I did that song, she knew exactly what I was saying through that song. She knew exactly that even before I even knew that song will guide me through the next 10, 15, 20 years of my life, knowing that this very thing that I'm doing right now on this platform, that I'm going to have to deep down deeply for my strength, and I'm going to have to know it. But then here's another thing. Years later, when my grandmother passed, my daughter wanted to honor her memory by performing this same song at her homegoing. And would you believe it? That same family member tried to stop her from performing. But of course, we stood firm in our truth. And my baby, when she did the praise dance to it, she shut the church down. Her emotions, her connection to my grandmother, she was the first great granddaughter, excuse me. And she shut the church down. Because you can feel it in her spirit, in her soul, in her emotions, in her arm movement, in everything, in the words. Yeah. This was her conversation to her great mother, her Gigi. But then this song is a part of our healing. So when I sat that morning at the altar and I was processing these triggering emails, then there was another powerful song that came. Yolanda Adams, I'm Gonna Be Ready. And with this song holds a special meaning to me because my auntie, who's also my godmother, who hadn't walked in over 10 years, I shared this story on my other podcast. And she had shared with me, she told me on how God came to her saying that she will be walking in 48 hours. She hadn't walked in 10 years from a stroke. But this was one of the songs that was a part of her journey. This is one of the songs that her playlist that she played for herself through those 48 hours before she began to walk, and she had shared that song with me. So right there at that moment, when those two songs came back to back, mind you, neither one of those songs are on that playlist. At that moment, I felt the presence of both of my grandmothers. And I understood something profound. All of my life, I've been proving my worth. And it did start with my own family. But just like we talked about it yesterday with Dr. Will, this is where our inner critic and our inner ally, where it meets. You see, those outer critics that have triggered my inner critic. But the thing is I'm building a harmonic relationship with my inner ally. Yes, society might struggle to see a former adult star talking about self-love, talking about relationships, talking about spirituality. They may even try to mark me as a scarlet letter. Stains and all. But what I was reminded that morning is that God has built me stronger. I was built for this. So now let's break down these songs that brought healing to me on that very morning at my altar. First, let's talk about Whitney Houston. I didn't know my own strength. When she opens with losing touch with her soul and having nowhere to go, that's exactly where those triggering emails took me that day. But watch how she transformed that pain. In the first verse speaks about being lost, thinking that it will be the end. But my beautiful people, how many times have we felt that way? How many times have we felt that way? When family rejection hits, when society judgments feel too heavy. But then you listen to what comes next. I thought I would never make it through, but I did. But I did. So let's do this. If you are somewhere right now, let's just pause right here for a moment, and I want you to take out your journals. And I want you to write down 3 moments when you thought you wouldn't survive, but you did. Baby, those aren't failures. Those are testimonies. Those are triumphs. So now when Whitney sings about crashing down, but not crumbling, that's not just survival, that's alchemy. That's turning pain into power. Just like when my daughter performed that song at my grandmother's homecoming. It tried to stop her, but that resistance became her runway. Now this brings us to the Yolanda Adams song, I'm Gonna Be Ready. As I said before, my auntie hadn't walked in 10 years, but when God gave her this song, think about that, preparing for your miracle before you see any evidence. Preparing for something greater and bigger before you even see the evidence. That's what that I'm gonna be ready. So let me share this with you. What I did learn is this song isn't just about being ready. It's about staying ready when in doubt is loud. When that doubt is loud. Like my auntie getting that divine message. In 48 hours, you will walk. You see, that takes a different kind of faith. You hear in your inner voice or something say, you're going to walk in 48 hours. Mind you, you ain't walked in 10 years. So you preparing yourself through song, prayer, meditation, everything that she did to walk. And in 48 hours, she was walking. And she is still walking to this day. So I got a little healing homework for all of y'all right now. Like, Naomi, are we in school? We always in school. Like I told you before, life is a big old school. And we're here to learn something. And we're going to call this our healing homework. I want you to write your won't break list. What have you survived that was meant to break you? And where did you find strength when you thought you had none? And then the last one, who tried to limit you but ultimately launched you? The second one, I want you to prepare for your miracle. What 48-hour miracle are you believing for? What 48-hour miracle are you believing for? What is it that you want to happen in your life within the next 48 hours? This is you preparing for that miracle. What do you need to release to be ready? And what internal story needs to shift? I want you to remember what Dr. Will taught us yesterday about the inner critic and the inner ally. I want you to remember that. But these songs are your ally anthem. So when you get a moment and you get a time, I want you to go take a listen to both of those songs. And I want you to hear the words, listen to the words. And if you can, print up the words and look them and see how they resonate with you, how they apply to your life. When Whitney sings about surviving her darkest hour, that's her ally speaking. And when Yolanda declares she's going to be ready, that's your ally rising. That's your ally rising. So remember yesterday when I was talking about having those conversations within your inner critic and your inner ally. Remember the question with Dr. Will that asked me about what is the inner critic jealous of the inner ally and vice versa? I want you to remember that, what I said. And if you don't, please go back to that episode. Go back to that episode and then come back. And then come back. It's all about building that harmonic inner relationship with self. That's what that intimate relationship is when it comes to self-love. That's what that is. And so me even sitting here right now, and again, it took me a moment to really get into it, meaning that I was supposed to record it this yesterday, end up recording it early this morning, but I needed to be in a space to where I can truly speak about this journey that happened in this moment, if that makes sense. So I can make sure that I am relaying this message. I'm relaying these words. I'm sharing this story. I'm sharing these lyrics with you that might apply to you right now as you needed it right now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but in this moment right now. Actually, when I woke up this morning and I was in the shower, my prayer was that if I can just stay in the moment. I don't want to think about my yesterdays and I don't want to think about my tomorrows. I just want to be in this moment right now. And whatever it is that you call for me or me to see and guide me to, this is where I want to be in this moment. That's it. So, my lovers, my season of self-lovers family, as we wrap today's episode of Transform Tuesday, I want you to just hold on to these truths. Your struggle haven't destroyed you. Your struggles haven't destroyed you. They revealed you. Your critics haven't defined you. They refined you. And just like Whitney's and Yolanda's song remind us that you are stronger than you know. And you are readier than you ever think. So I want you to remember what inspired today's episode. Those triggering emails that I received. The old me might have left them shake my confidence. Might have let them shake my confidence, but sitting at my altar on that very morning and feeling my grandmother's spirit, both of them, remembering my auntie's miracle and hearing these songs in my spirit, I was reminded that God doesn't make mistakes. I was reminded of that. And so I know I just have something that I asked you to do, just a little assignment for this week. I know we kicked off everything yesterday, but also this is that if you can listen to these songs with new ears. Listen to these songs with new ears. And I want you to journal about your own strength stories. And I want you to practice being ready for your miracle and create your own healing declarations. And share them with me through email, through, even hashtag Transfer Tuesday, Finding Strength. And my beautiful people, I am excited to tell you that every Tuesday this month that we will be breaking down different songs that can heal and empower us during these challenging times. Music is medicine. And we're going to take our full dose. Also, don't forget to download our Year Rebirth Workbook. It's still available. And I want you to use the documents in there for journaling, especially the section where we talk about the podcast match there. Yeah. All right, my beautiful people. All right, so until tomorrow with Wednesday, where we will be joined by another amazing guest. Another amazing guest. I want you to keep shining your light. Keep claiming your strength. And remember, you were not built to break. Have an amazing, amazing day. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.